I'm going to start with a few poems from my book, World Gone Zoom, Notes from the American Epicenter.
Which are copies available for sale, as there are for all our other readers. I neglected to say. Okay, sorry.
Thank you, Matt. You spared me a whole line. All right. This is a book that has poems that I literally use epigraphs. So I'm going to start this reading with the epigraph for the entire book. There are decades where nothing happens, and there are weeks when decades happen. V.I. Leonard. So these poems are a diary of the lockdown period of the pandemic in 2020, with a few poems from the Black Lives Matter period of the pandemic. I'd like to start with the first poem. It's called The World Gone Zoom, March 16, 2020. Why in the world are we here? Certainly not to live in pain and fear. Why on earth are you there when you're everywhere? John Lennon, 1970. What you up to? Washing my hands. With you on that, mate. Been doing it for 20 minutes. It's supposed to be 20 seconds. I'm front loaded. People in Italy are singing from their balconies. Folks in Pennsylvania are praying for toilet paper. Social distancing? Modern alienation not good enough for you? Gonna get on the subway, hang out with the germs. From ban the bomb to ban the bug. The original title of Elvis Costello's Armed Forces album was Emotional Fascism. This is the Euro-American baby boomers, World War II. Thank you. Life during wartime, March 30th, 2020. This ain't no party, this ain't no disco, this ain't no fooling around. David Byrne, 1979. So this is war. Xmas is over. Unfortunately, the germs didn't sign on to the Geneva Agreement. John Lennon's imagined world turned unsafe for hippies and just about everyone else. Kim and I are living in a studio. She calls it our student apartment. In honor of that, she's playing some Joni Mitchell. Joni didn't much like hippies, but hippies adored Joni, as did just about everyone else. Hospitals are overrun. Restaurants are closing. The economy is in shambles. As the Freak Brothers used to say, dope will get you through times of no money, better than money will get you through times of no dope. Me, I'm just looking to separate the high from the anxiety. The shape of the space-time continuum keeps shifting. Ambulances keep pulling up to my building. My niece, Ami, in New Haven, gave birth to a boy at 2 a.m. last Monday. Life goes on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is one that's dedicated to one of my favorite musicians. Henry Grimes, April 19th, 2020. We lost another sweet soul last week for the second time. Given up for dead in the late 60s, Henry was rediscovered in 2002. Ironically, his second career was longer than his first. I feel blessed to have seen him many times. Once, I saw him play a duet with himself. Feathery round bass notes accompanied by airy harmonics. I hope you come around again, Henry. Political economies, May 18th, 2020. I got a mind to give up living and go shopping instead. Traditional blues way. iPhone time, always correct. Yet we can't get our unemployment checks. The Lord of the Flies Family Book Club. America's leadership in the world has fallen off the flat earth. Trump is a demagogue without being an ideologue. Hitler was both. Great Depression, the sequel, now streaming on Zoom. Boomboxes on bikes, pumping up the bass. Whistling through the graveyard, healthcare for the unhappy. Limited antibody testing as sociology experiment. Giving shape to the storm as we watch the complications and collateral damage. Isolation, anger, violence, impoverishment. Corona capitalism, the gift that keeps on taking. Levees break, June 1st, 2020. If this ever-changing world in which we live in makes you give in and cry, say live and let die. Paul McCartney, 1973. We've revised Marx's take on the Napoleons, tragedy and farce at the same time. We passed the 100,000 mark. Chris Rock guests on Uncle Andy's show. Cities are on fire as another unarmed black man is murdered by the police, this time with public torture. Trump and Twitter fighting over what is real and what is not. Reopening looking more like reclosing. David Brooks called it a bad week. Is this the normal folks want to get back to? Thank you. And this final one from the book is the next to last poem in the book. It's called View from My Terrace, June 21st, 2020. She's a rock and roll singer and a true dead ringer for something like you ain't never seen. Robbie Robertson, 1970. Trump got punked by TikTok teens. Uncle Andy's roadshow closed to rave reviews. No one wants it to reopen. All manner of wheeled devices scurry through the streets. Pedestrians dodge them, their faces at half-mast. Fireworks on display all night long. Their debris hits our now closed first floor windows. Dave Chappelle does 27 spot-on minutes, about 8 minutes and 46 seconds. I share his love for the young protesters, creating the most democratic moment in the history of the world. Black Lives Matter marching with LGBTQ. Fred Noonan's demonstration dream comes to life. Our activity is a drop in the ocean because the ocean showed up. Time for a swim. It's Father's Day. My father would have loved this.
Yeah.
Thank you. There are copies of the book available for the in-person special price of $10. And so that's the merch. I'm out of t-shirts. Yeah, I'd now like to read a few poems that are candidates for my next book that's tentatively titled Busy Being Born, Busy Dying, which is kind of a memoir. This one is called St. Clair's, 2004. I lie in my hospital bed, belly bloated like a frog in a dissection dish. The pain rivals, maybe exceeds kidney stone levels. Over the mound of my belly, I see my father sitting quietly. Diagnosed with diverticulitis, I haven't moved from this bed in days. They feed me through my veins. They call it NPO. Suddenly, I'm compelled to jump up and stumble to the antiseptic bathroom that's spitting distance from the foot of the bed. I burst coagulated ochre liquid. I hear my father's voice. Are you all right? greatly relieved, I sob. His smile chuckles through the bathroom door. 1985. John Chiravalo is lying on his bed. Friends huddle in the corner, exhorting him to hang on. I step over the uneaten food tray and enter the room. I haven't seen John in 5 years. He was lean then. Now he's pallid and gaunt, ravaged by AIDS. He manages a meager smile. I bend over and look into his glassy eyes. I say, I'm sorry to see you this way. I share how much he means to me, his open heart and soft decency, his astute ear and tuned dexterity, how the piano exercises relaxed my hands forever. I touch his chest. His smile broadens. He tells me he is in so much pain. I rub his chest. He says his legs are on fire. I say it's okay to let go. I walk down the long corridor. On the sparse street, I am bathed by a squinting sun.
Oh, yeah.
Staying alive. Middle-aged black man on a subway car, electric keyboard strapped around his neck, sings Stevie Wonder's Knock Me Off My Feet. Young Latin man with cornrows, ticket pasted to his coat, sits at a table of a hole-in-the-wall sushi place on the Lower East Side. Spiritual gangster has no need for a gun. A kind word will do. Staying alive, once a Bee Gees song, became a part-time job, is now a career. Fashion fades, style is eternal. Even your drums will die. Intersectionality, 2019. 1. Saw a black dwarf with a ragged gray goatee on the C train. His sneakered feet dangled over the edge of the plastic seat. He was listening to his phone. He wore a funky homegrown t-shirt that read, "Fight Supremacy." I caught his eye, gave him a thumbs up. He returned my gesture. 2. I always watch the MTV Video Music Awards. I love how the young musicians play with each other with passionate fluidity. Back in the day, there were no mixed race, Asian, Latin, Black, gender fluid bass players on TV. Now they're on the VMAs every year. This year, Taylor Swift threw down with them. 3. Why must I always show my ID? Here's one from my childhood. Our first TV set, 1954. A square box that lived in our parents' bedroom with rabbit ear wire on top to help with reception. Called black and white, the image was gray. Vertical hold problems cured by cathode ray tube karate. The shows portrayed horses, women, and other objects of mystery. Static backgrounds, stiff newscasters, useless information, as Mick would later say. Thank you. A couple more for you. Cal Pecker. A quirky, sacrilegious communist, he taught physics at Stevens Tech. Turned us on to Lord Buckley, Lenny Bruce, Tom Lehrer, Scotch. On his way to work weekday mornings, he drove us into Manhattan. So we only had to take one train up to high school in the North Bronx. He took the big turn on the Queensboro Bridge 2 lanes at a time, commenting on the car radio news like an erudite Mr. Magoo, waving his hand, seemingly oblivious to the traffic around him. At his memorial, his grandchildren put all the rejoinders they could remember up on the walls of the Queens Youth Community Room. There were almost 200 of them. My favorite? Did I wake you up? No, I had to get up to answer the phone. And finally, a short philosophical love poem called Love and Belief for Kim. I don't believe in truth, evil, or the self. Yet I'm tired of being lied to and have met some pretty evil dudes. And when you bring your sweet self over here, I could believe in anything.
Yes.
Yeah.